The billionaire thought he was humiliating a waitress for attention, but with just one line, she revealed a truth he'd spent his whole life hiding. It was Friday night at the Marble Oak, a high-end steakhouse nestled in the heart of Manhattan, where the elite came to dine and be seen. 23-year-old Riley had been working double shifts all week. She didn't complain. Her mom's medical bills weren't going to pay themselves. But tonight, she felt the fatigue settle deep in her bones. That's when he walked in. Grayson Voss. The name made people whisper. Tech mogul, billionaire, magazine cover legend. He was known for flashy parties, private jets, and publicly putting people in their place. Riley saw the hostess point him toward her section and felt her stomach twist. He sat down without a word, eyes on his phone. His suit alone probably cost more than Riley's car, and the smug look on his face warned her this wasn't going to be a smooth table. She greeted him kindly, offered the menu. He didn't look up, just muttered, "Bring me something worth my time, and don't mess it up." Riley held her smile. "Of course, sir." She brought the wine, poured it gently, and served his appetizer exactly as requested. But when she returned with his entree, perfectly plated trout almondine, everything shifted. He picked up his fork, examined the plate for a second, then raised his voice. "This is how you serve a paying customer?" he boomed, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. "I said no parsley. Is that too complicated for someone like you?" The room stilled. Conversations died. Even the bartender looked up. Riley's heart pounded, but her hands didn't shake. She stared at the billionaire for a moment, then spoke clearly, her voice cutting through the silence like glass. "Funny," she said. "You talk like someone who's used to being heard, but never really listened to." The words hung in the air, and Grayson Voss froze. He opened his mouth to reply, but no sound came out. He hadn't expected anyone to speak back, especially not her. The room held its breath as Riley calmly cleared the edge of his plate, unfazed. Grayson Voss didn't respond. His jaw clenched, but his eyes, those sharp, calculating eyes, were suddenly distant, like her words had pulled something loose inside him. Riley turned and walked away, head high, refusing to let the moment define her. She'd dealt with all kinds before, drunks, flirts, critics, but this was different. It wasn't just about food or parsley. That man was hiding something beneath all that noise. Grayson sat frozen, his fingers tightening around the stem of his wine glass. For a brief second, the restaurant faded. All he could hear was her voice echoing. "You talk like someone who's used to being heard, but never really listened to." A memory clawed its way back. He was 12 again, standing in a dark hallway outside his father/his office. A forgotten boy with muddy shoes, holding a school report he was proud of. He'd waited an hour. His father never came out, never listened, just yelled when he tracked mud on the rug. Grayson shook his head like he could push it away. But her words had found the crack, and now it was spreading. Later, when Riley came back to check on the table, he didn't shout. He didn't even look angry. Instead, he said quietly, "Tell me your name again?" She hesitated. "Riley." He nodded. "You always speak like that?" "Only when someone needs to hear it," she said without blinking. He didn't touch his food, just sat there, watching her as if she'd read a chapter of his life no one else had dared open. That night he left no tip, just a folded napkin with 5 words scribbled on the back of his receipt. "You know more than you say." Riley found the note while wiping down his table. She read the words twice, confused but unsettled. It wasn't a threat. It felt vulnerable, like a man too used to hiding behind noise was finally whispering for help. She slid the napkin into her pocket and finished her shift, but the moment lingered. Why had her one sentence shaken him? Why had he left so quietly? 2 days later, a black car waited outside the restaurant as Riley clocked out. The driver stepped out and handed her an envelope. No words, no smile. Just the envelope, sealed with the initials GV. Inside was a card and a single sentence. "There's something I'd like you to see." An address was written underneath. Riley hesitated, instincts buzzing. But curiosity won. That evening, she took the train across the city to an old brownstone in a quiet neighborhood. Nothing like Grayson Voss's usual haunts. The door creaked open before she knocked. He stood there, alone, no suit, no staff. Just jeans and a sweatshirt. And eyes that looked nothing like the man from the restaurant. "I'm not here to scare you," he said gently. "I just needed to talk to someone who sees past the noise." Inside, the walls were lined with photos. Not of boardrooms or awards, but of a boy, maybe 10 years old. Baseball trophies, drawings, report cards. "That was me," Grayson said. "Before all of this. Before I started acting like the world owed me something." Riley listened in silence. He told her about growing up invisible in a cold mansion. About earning his fortune just to prove he mattered. About building walls so high even he forgot what was on the other side. "I lash out because silence terrifies me," he admitted. "But your silence, it wasn't empty. It said everything." Riley didn't say much. She didn't need to. When she left that night, Grayson didn't offer her money or favors. He just said, "Thanks for seeing the boy in me when I forgot he ever existed." 3 months later, Riley was back at the Marble Oak, now a shift lead with better pay and shorter hours. Enough to finally enroll in the design classes she'd put off for years. Life hadn't changed overnight, but something inside her had. She held herself taller, spoke with a quiet confidence that couldn't be shaken. One evening, a man in a gray suit came in asking for her by name. He handed her a leather folder and said only, "Mr. Voss asked me to deliver this." Inside was a formal letter. Not just any letter, an invitation. Grayson Voss had launched a new company, Haven Tech, focused on supporting mental health access for underprivileged youth. And under leadership team, her name was printed beside the title, Director of Outreach. At first, she thought it was a joke. But beneath the letter was a handwritten note in his careful script. "You reminded me that being heard starts with listening. I want you beside me, because the world needs more voices like yours." Tears welled up in her eyes, not because of the offer, but because someone like him had finally learned to hear someone like her. Weeks later, as she stepped into the company's headquarters for her first day, reporters called out questions about the surprise hire. Why her? What did she say to change Grayson Voss? He answered only once, into a sea of microphones. "She exposed my greatest weakness by treating it with strength, not cruelty." And as cameras flashed, Riley simply smiled. She didn't need to raise her voice to change the world. She'd already done it with one sentence spoken at the right time.